Here is my thesis. The internet and its almighty algorithm is training us all to abandon our own creative instincts and instead replace them with shame. So much shame. And this is not a secret or even a fresh take. The internet used to be something that was inspiring, and slowly it has morphed into something that we're all addicted to, looks like a gigantic commercial wasteland full of slop and just makes you hate yourself. I have this hunch, a suspicion, a theory, whatever you want to call it. Please do confirm it, because I've noticed this in myself and my friends, but every single creative person I know who makes a lot of work has been publishing less and less of it. So much less. And it doesn't mean that they are making less necessarily, it just means that they are overthinking themselves. The algorithm has literally trained them to doubt their creativity. I've noticed in myself that when it comes to making things, a big section that would have previously just been used to make something better is now focusing on whether or not something will perform well. And the anxieties around that are pretty easy to understand, I think. You know, art, super subjective. Social media metrics, super objective. Suddenly we're applying numbers to things and we can rank them based on popularity alone, and that's really weird and super reductive. But it gets in your head, doesn't it? And when it gets in your head, you start publishing less, you start doubting yourself more, you start getting into these creative blocks, these spirals, and you start thinking, God damn, this is never gonna happen. I'm never gonna just be able to bust through, break through whatever this thing is, and actually just create for the sake of creativity. I bet if you are nodding along to this, you have a graveyard of projects that you would love to share with the world, but you are too scared to share with the world. And the reason that I would make that bet is because that is exactly where I'm at. I have so much abandoned work. I have so much unpublished work. I have so much work that just haunts me, that stares at me and is like, hey, put this online, join the conversation, come on. Yell into the void with other people. It might do something. People might like it. People might not like it. What if they don't like it? What if you publish it and everybody's angry at you? God damn, what a waste of energy. I don't want to feel like this. I don't want to spend my time thinking about this frickin' gigantic pick-me machine. I don't want to lose creative momentum to social media, but I have. And I have to admit that to myself. I really, really have. And I think that the only way is through. So I've given myself 2 challenges. We'll get to the second goal right at the end, but for now, let's focus on the main one. I want to resurrect an abandoned project. The disposability culture that has been placed on all of us by the internet that says if it wasn't made in the last week, it's irrelevant. I hate that. So here's what I've done, right? Where did I put it? Hello. Last year, I spent the year writing this, Doom and Bloom, The Case for Creativity in a World Hooked on Panic. By the way, it's available for pre-order. Check the link in the description. This comes out in May, and if you buy it now, it'll help me out a lot. Anyway, I spent my year last year writing and drawing this, which meant I also spent the last year writing and drawing a lot of things that didn't see the light of day. I have so many offcuts. I have probably like 2 extra books worth of stuff that didn't make this book, and not all of it is trash. I want to sift through it and find the treasure. So I got this old story that I found, got all these magazine parts, and then I want to reimagine it, I want to repurpose it, I want to use it, I want to turn it into something beautiful. And to complement that, I've decided to use an art form that reflects this. Collage. Both my stories and these old magazines were headed to the bin, but I'm going to intervene. I'm going to go against the algorithm and say, nah, you're not disposable, you just haven't met. I'm going to make something cool. In addition to the internet making me feel like only perfect things deserve to get seen, the general pace of technology is also making me feel like I'm losing touch with the analog world. So it's real nice just ripping out bits of paper. What actually gave me this idea was I made a tour poster recently for a band called Eddie Ray's. I also made their album artwork. Here's some work I made. Why didn't I publish this? Why didn't I post this? I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't know, but I love it. I'm really, really, really proud of it. Go me. I don't know why that feels so weird to say. Now, the final step of making this is to actually share it. Share it with people. I know social media makes me feel like unless something is better than frickin' perfect, it doesn't deserve to see eyeballs. But I also know that if I spend all of my time polishing something, I kill all the flavor. It ends up as this vanilla piece of frickin' garbage and I end up hating it. But when I make something that's real, I'm proud. Why Do Anything at All by Campbell Walker, aka Struthless. Let's start at the start. You don't have to do anything. Cool. You could put your phone down and stare into space until you starve to death. Surprise, most people don't survive dying. At the risk of sounding sentimental, every single person you have ever loved, shoved, kissed, missed, glared at, stared at, hated, rated, or tolerated will be dead this time next century. Dead. Scientists estimate that in about 5 billion years, the sun will explode, taking out our planet like a gorilla would a weasel. Your entire existence is confined to our lonely Earth, and the 86-ish rotations around the sun your body has granted you. Some people theorize that there's more beyond this mortal experience, and I hope they're right. Other people theorize that there isn't, and sometimes I hope they're right too. But whether you believe in the afterlife or you think we'll all be worm food, it doesn't hurt to treat this earthly stint as your one and only shot. The not so cool part is how easy it is to feel useless, hopeless, and hapless. If you hadn't been born, the world would almost certainly still have its famines, floods, wars, and pandemics. Unless, of course, you caused one of these things, in which case, dude, not cool. If you were never here, people would still be horrible in comment sections. Old history books would still age like milk, and some shadowy cabal would still cover up the fact that aliens definitely exist. But the cool part is, it's not over yet. Without you, the world stays the same. With you, it can change. Ideally for the better. This is where I got up to, and so I shared up to here. After I shared, I immediately realized why sharing is so important. The things that are inside you need to get out into the world for them to fully complete the cycle and actually become treasure. And this, was the thought I had immediately after sharing this. But not for the reason that you're thinking. The story is actually completely unrelated. I posted this, seemed to connect with people. I was gearing up to make another one, and then I stood up and fainted. I felt dizzy, like something is not right dizzy. So I go to the hospital, and a doctor tested my blood and then told me that my hemoglobin levels were 66. Now, 2 bits of context. Firstly, you need hemoglobin to live. And secondly, here's a chart of what my levels should have been. My levels were too low for this chart. I was literally off the chart. So I get not 1, not 2, but 5 blood transfusions. I end up staying in the hospital for a bit. It's pretty hectic. Definitely does not pair well with having a toddler and a brand new baby. Anyway, as I had the blood of 5 strangers pumped into my body, I felt myself coming back to life. I didn't realise just how sick I'd been. The whole thing left me in this state of awe. My new blood, it didn't belong to just anyone. It belonged to really good people. Charitable, beautiful people, the kind of people who donate when they see a blood drive. What really hit me is how much of a difference all of that blood made when it was in me. Not because the blood changed, but because the body changed. Its context changed. In the bodies of the people who had made the blood, that blood was helping them. It had an impact, but they were also healthy enough to spare a pint and then go about their day. But when that same blood was in my body, it brought me back from death's door. And the more I thought about it, the more I realized that it's the exact same with creativity. What you make, what you give to the world, to you, it might feel like nothing special. But what we often forget when we make stuff is the impact on the other end. What happens when our work finds its way to other people, especially people who are feeling not a blood deficiency, but a connection to other people deficiency. What I'm saying is, what might seem like a disposable idea to you, to somebody else might be life-changing. Of course, there is one more layer to this blood metaphor, and that is, I didn't even know I needed it. I knew I felt off, but I didn't know quite how sick I was until I couldn't stand. So if nothing else, I hope you look at your work, all the work you've made, all the work you will make, and instead of seeing it through the bullying eyes of the algorithm, I hope you see it through the eyes of somebody who needs it. This is more or less how I see creativity. You got two parts. You have the part where you express your inner world, and then you have the part where you edit whatever this expression is to make sense to the outer world. A piece of creative work starts with something that's going on in here, a feeling, a memory, whatever it happens to be, and you express it. You put it into something, you make something. Maybe you write, maybe you turn it into art, whatever it happens to be. Of course, the other part of the joy is refining whatever that thing is. Because while a first draft can be raw and fun, there's also a joy in getting things up to a certain standard. And that is the editing for the outer world. There's a quote, I'll flash whoever said it on screen because it ain't in my inner world right now, that says you can't create and edit at the same time. They are different processes. Anyway, the reason that I am breaking things into this is because these two things, they make stuff, right? But what I think has happened is the internet has made this one feel way more important, to the point where this one is losing relevance. Now it's just make stuff for the outer world, make stuff for the outer world. Did I just make the next song of the summer? What do you think? Make stuff for the outer world. It's like, ugh. Nauseating, dude. Anyway, there's one more side effect, which is even if this is abandoned, suddenly your inner world looks like a whole lot of this. So it's like everything that you're expressing is just a mirror for slop. Alright, that's my rant. What do we do about it? So this brings me to my second challenge of this video. And if you're inspired by the first challenge to turn trash into treasure, then you can tack this one on as well. The second challenge is to correct the balance. Earlier I talked about creativity as two processes, expressing your inner world and editing it so it makes sense. I think a correction is overdue, at least for me for a while. And that is, I want to focus a little bit less on editing and a little bit more on expressing my inner world. I think, I don't know. Man, with everything just looking so freaking polished and information being so accessible and AI making all of this like artwork in the space of seconds, I think what I am personally missing is human interaction and that raw expression. So I know what I want to be, and this video is a step toward it. Alright. Enjoy, have a beautiful day. I hope you make some cool stuff. And if you do, tag me in it, I want to see it. Once again, check out my book, please, unless you don't want to, that's chill. I'm super, super, super proud of this. I put my soul into it. Anyway, have a beautiful day. Catch ya.